It's time. Grab your goat, grab a drink, grab some popcorn. It is time for the Witches Movie Coven. Yay! We are counting down to Halloween. Happy Samhain, happy Halloween, everybody. And also, today is the day we are going to announce the winners of our Send You Stuff from Our House contest. So, we're going to do that in our introductions right now. Today, we are talking about Halloween 3 from 1982. But before we go there, I think we need to get right into introductions. Courtney.
That's me. I'm Courtney Buckley, ghost bait on Scared and Alone, and witch from Salem and the Witches Movie Coven. And I would be very honored to announce my winner of the Send You Some Stuff that we have at home, which is not exactly what I did, but we'll find that out later. My winner is Tabitha Meadows. Yay, Tabitha!
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Tabitha. Now we're going to have to get addresses and stuff like that from everybody. I don't know what we're planning to do that. So we need to do that, Tabitha. So should she email somebody? We didn't discuss this.
She can message me and I'll get it to her.
Okay, message Courtney. Okay, that's great. Each of you can go through us individually or different. So, okay, congratulations, Tabitha. Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Greene. I'm the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, a critical history of witches and witchcraft in American cinema and television. And there's my book. Thank you, Courtney. And I'm here and happy to be with my coven today. And my winner, who is awesome, is Mary Jane King. So yay! Contact me with your information so I can send you a lovely gift of witchy stuff.
Yay, congratulations. Okay, Jason.
I'm Jason Mankey. I've written like 9 books on witchcraft and related things. It's almost time for my favorite season, which is Yule. So we just got to get through these next few weeks, which is hurting all the rest of my coven. I know. I have a wonderful announcement about my big winner today. It would be Lisa. Wonderful. So you get in touch with me and I will send you a box of things from my office that are not junk.
Yay! That is great. All right, Richard-Lael.
And that would be me. I am Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael Lillard is not 2 if I were just Richard. Anyway, so I also would love to say who my winner is. My winner is Alicia, and I can't last name, but you know your Alicia, and you can the things that are also, well, they're from my house. That's what I would say.
Yeah, yay. Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Patti Negri. Well, go.
No, go on. No, I meant to
Huh?
mention something. You go first. I meant to mention something.
Okay, my name is Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts as well. You might know me from The Witching Hour, my regular podcast, or many dozen episodes of Ghost Adventures, which I have a new one next week. But I am proud and thrilled to announce my winner. I need my drummer husband is Robert Hicks, my friend. Everybody, yes, there's nepotism in there. Robert Hicks, congratulations, Robert! You get a box of stuff from my house. Good stuff. Yay!
Yay! Woo! Congratulations to all of our winners. It's really cool that we get to send you stuff.
Thank you guys for playing the game, for going on. Again, we want you commenting on our page. We want you going to our YouTube, to our Facebook page, because we love you. So we are going to talk about Halloween 3. I'm going to have so much fun tonight. Do we want to get the synopsis from Richard-Lael before we get the official stuff from Heather? I think we do.
Let's do it. Why not? I'm already here. All right. So the synopsis. Halloween 3 is definitely a movie. It is from 1982. It is from 1982. It does not have, what's his name? Michael Myers or Oscar Mayer or what Oscar Mayer that makes I was never really a Halloween fan, so now I'm really not a Halloween fan, but I'm not going to go there. I'll talk about the synopsis. So, story. There's a factory out in the middle of nowhere, and it's 18 days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 18 days till Halloween. 13, I think. I don't know. Whatever it is. However many days. Anyway, so there's this factory out in the middle of nowhere, and this fellow who owns a shop goes out there to retrieve these masks, and actually comes back. He's put in hospital. He's holding this Halloween pumpkin head mask, and that commercial comes on. 8 more days till Halloween. Anyway, the song gets stuck in your head, and no, I don't want. No, they're gonna kill us all. They're gonna kill us all. They're gonna kill us all. And then, of course, this guy who's a doctor, which I don't know why that matters, because he doesn't have any sort of up again. He goes with this girl whose father was missing, and then he makes love with her for the first half of the movie, even though he's sort of seeing someone else.
No, it's his ex-wife.
And halfway through, he says, "Are you legal? Are you old enough?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've already asked that, but nonetheless, it's 1982. Things like that happened. So she was definitely old enough. They end up by going in this little podunk town, and then Willy Wonka comes out, and he does this sort of somersault, and the machines that kill people, and they sing these little songs. It's not oompa loompa gobbledygoo. It's more like the other one, the loud, but it gets worse, because as the killings happen, which are camp and silly and ridiculous, and you're supposed to be scared of these creatures that exist only to kill people, who end up by setting themselves on fire, and there's no DNA behind them because they are, of course, these creatures. Well, it turns out there's the bad guy who appeared 45 minutes into the film, 4 minutes in an hour and a half film. The guy ends up by that guy realizes he tells them why, and the best reason, the best villain explanation is, do I need a reason? That's what he says. And so all of these people are dying in horrible, cheesy ways, and then the machines are getting punctured, and it looks like the goop that begins as you're carving them. But it turns out, really, that this bad guy has somehow taken pieces of Stonehenge and put in the masks, and it was supposed to be a sacrifice thing. And so he children by turning them into snakes and spiders and puppy dog tails and all kinds of things that I wish certain neighbor children would also be turned. That's neither here nor there. This guy who has been screwing around the entire film, that he's going to try to stop this from happening, and he does. He gets it. Two of the 3 stations to stop their broadcast, but not and the third one happens to be where his own children are watching at that very same time, and they're going to be turned into these gooey things. And then at the end, of course, you find out that the girl that he's been screwing the entire film has now been turned into Austin Powers. And roll credits. No Michael Myers. Nothing.
Well, there was some Oscar Mayer wieners.
Thank you so much. I didn't think they were creatures. I thought they were novelty toys.
Oh,
are they?
They're robots.
Novelty toys.
Novelty toys. He was a novelty toy.
Yeah, robots.
I never. Okay, we'll go on. Okay, because I never understood the Snyders and snakes. But okay, Heather, do you have an official?
Yeah. So where do we start with this movie? So I'm just going to do some context like I normally do. So this is 1982. And I think the best thing, the best context you can give for this particular movie is to talk about slasher films and to talk about the Halloween franchise. And so this is the third one in the Halloween franchise. And as Richard-Lael pointed out, and as I believe Robert Hicks or someone pointed out, is that this is the only one without Michael Myers. Originally, the director and the creators of Halloween wanted to create an anthology series, something more closer to what we might say you see with the TV show American Horror Story, or like with Twilight Zone, etc. So they were going to create these stories, these movies that were based on horror stories centering around Halloween. Of course, the first one took off. It's brilliant. It's low budget. It's revolutionary in film in so many ways. The second one had Michael Myers. The third one did not. Now, it made money, this third one, because everyone loved the first two. So they came out in droves to see the third one. So it made a lot of money, but it is the worst performing of all of them. It was so bad that they went back to Michael Myers as the character for the next 400 films that they made after that. So you have that is the setting. So, and the thing with Halloween and is that it is the original was a standout in a particular type of horror movie that became prominent in the 70s, because really horror as we know it didn't show up until the 70s. And that's a long story that's fascinating if you love horror. There was horror before, and it's been fascinating and wonderful. And horror is one of my favorite genres. There's lots to say about it. But the genre that we talk about with Halloween and this particular film and a lot of the other ones, specifically that are associated with the 80s, is the slasher film. And that's a particular type. And that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be lodged in the slasher film genre because it's associated with Halloween. That's what people went in looking for. Now, the slasher film usually involves a monster and teenagers. This did not. So there's a lot of things that were different about this film that don't apply. Now, one of the things we can also point out contextually about this movie is, first of all, we can question whether it's really a witch film. We can actually have a conversation about that. But it also came out, you have a villain who is a proponent of killing children in the name of some kind of witchcraft ritual. So if we just look at that piece of the story, of the plot, and then we look at 1982, this was when the Satanic Panic began. Now Hollywood really hadn't put its teeth into it yet. We hadn't seen it a lot yet in 1982. However, this is the plot. This is the story that was coming out of the Satanic Panic, that witches are there underlying with these things, pulling from either, in this case, they talk about Samhain, they talk about the stones. They have these things, they have these subtle points that are relating back, which were used during the Satanic Panic to associate witches living in society, and eating, killing, wanting to eat and kill children. So you have that theme sort of brewing here. It isn't prominent yet in 1982 in American film. You don't start seeing it to the late 80s, but it's there. So that's the premise. I will give my opinions of this wonderful Halloween film later in the program.
Thank you very much. Okay, so who wants to go first?
Well, can I just hop in before we lose it? There's a comment that I'd love to address from Nathan. Nathan asked, do you have a list of top Halloween movies? And we do. We each have our own list of top Halloween witchy movies. It's on our YouTube page. So if you look on Witches Movie Coven on YouTube, it's listed under videos, and you can watch and find out about each of our lists.
Yes.
Or you can scan
Thank
it up.
you. And Dead Poet Boy missed the first 5 minutes. You missed everything in that first 5 minutes.
That's it.
We gave away winners. We gave away prizes to Robert and Alicia, Mary Jane, and you missed everything. Just might as well start up.
I'd love to read you guys the first 2 notes or 3 notes that I made as I was watching this movie before I gave up trying to take notes. First of all, I've never seen, this is very controversial, but I've never seen a Halloween movie. I don't care for them. Sorry. The only slasher films I like are Scream, because it's self-aware, and I like that. So I think it's funny. But so I was hoping beyond hope that this would turn into something like Warlock, where it was so stupid it was funny, and it didn't, but I had hope for it in the beginning. But the first note that I wrote down was, this is the slowest death I've ever seen in my life. Because this, like, I could not understand for the life of me why this person, obviously did not understand it was a robot, but this person was like this, strangling the guy, and the guy's like, ah, and he's like, why is he doing that? And then he's like pulling the chain, and it's so dramatic, and he pulls the chain out from the tire, and then the car is just like at like -3 miles an hour, like rolling towards him, and he's like, and then dies. Like, that was the most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen, and I was like, this is not starting off well. And then
I thought that was exciting.
I'm confused. I'm having confused thoughts about that. The next thing I wrote down is, someone stole Stonehenge. What is this movie? Because on the TV in the background is the news thing, and then it was very clear within the first 5 minutes like what direction this movie was going to take. So I was a little disappointed. And then the third note, and I only have quotes after that, but I don't have that many. But the third one was, okay, the Silver Shamrock song is fun, because every time that song came on, when it was like, before it would start singing, it would be like, do, 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 do. I was like, the whole time I would kick my feet like I was a little kid. Like, I'd get so excited. Do, 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 do. And it's stuck in my head forever now, and I can never get rid of it. And that's where
6
I'm at,
more days till Halloween. Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
All right. Thank you for that. Who wants to go next?
I think Jason does. He's ready.
I have lots of thoughts. So I originally was going to start with something else, and then I was listening to Heather's context, and this movie in so many ways reminds me of a chick track, like a chick track on lots of drugs. If you've never read a chick track, it's those evangelical little comic books they pass out. But this has all of the things about a chick track, like taking things that don't fit and putting them together. Like, we're going to say Samhain and witches, and then we're going to say Ireland, and then we're going to bring in Stonehenge, and it's a plot to kill children, and it's all this crazy exposition. And yes, it felt like a chick track when he's the evil. I think
only
someone
they
just
would have
called him.
turned
Yeah, yeah. Like, everything about
Yeah.
Halloween is evil, and all these terrible things are going to happen, right? It was just putting all of these random things together that might kind of scare someone or confuse someone who doesn't know any better, that they're completely all unrelated. Yeah. My original thought was, though, I've
That's
watched
it?
this
Thank you.
movie for
Is he
40
frozen?
years.
Oh, whoa. We got to hear this part. This is the part I want to hear. Go ahead.
So I have been aware and watching this movie for 40 years. I am of an age where I watched the original Halloween on network television on Halloween night.
I can't.
Does everybody else hear me? Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. So
I can hear you.
I remember.
It's fine.
All right. I remember watching the original Halloween on network TV on Halloween night with my friends. I was probably 5 years old and being absolutely terrified. I would not go into the garage for 2 years without terror beating in my heart, because I was convinced the killer was there waiting for me. And my father would always say, "Go to the garage, boy, and grab me a beer." And you would have to walk 2 feet in the dark before getting to the light where Michael Myers might kill you. And then we had HBO, and this movie played on a loop on HBO for about 10 years. And my parents did not care that I watched this movie because it was not scary. So we watched it over and over again, and I was always confused why it did not have Michael Myers. But when you see it, though, it burrows into your brain forever. Not just the song, but the complete absurdity of the whole film. So I've been carrying this with me for a very, very, very long time. And because I watched it as a child, there's still a part of me that loves it, even though I know that I should not love this movie. Damn.
All right. I don't know if my internet is kind of going in or out, but I'm missing a bunch of that. It might be my internet, so I hope you can hear me. It's my internet. Okay, so then I'm going to go next while I have internet for a second. I love this movie. Oh my God. I have not seen that bad of acting in years. it's like nothing timed out correctly. It was the best of the worst of low budget horror films. I might have been in the right. I've never seen it before. I'd never seen it before. I probably haven't seen a bunch of the Halloween movies, so this was completely new. And I watched it last night. I was scared when you're supposed to be scared. I felt in the lings and those scary monster people, novelty toys, robots. Everything was period to the day. The style, their body shapes, everything to me could not stand out that early 80s more. And I laughed, I cried, I screamed, everything that you're supposed to do. The Samhain thing really threw me off. It's the Irish brogue, and Dan O'Hurley, I got to play his wife once in a film about that time, or a few years later than that. And I'm just like, oh my God, they've turned this into Samhain. But all the goofy, ridiculously bad stuff worked on me how it was supposed to. And I'm like, I loved it. I was entertained. That's what a movie is for. I got scared. That's what a horror movie is for. I laughed hard because of the acting. I live in Hollywood. They'd all be fired. Really the worst acting. Even the sex scenes. When's the last time you saw a lovemaking scene like that? Oh my God.
That was probably the scariest scene in the entire film, really.
I know. It's probably one of my best enjoyed of our movies in so long. I just was completely satisfied by the end of it. Bad witchcraft and all. That's my total take.
Wow. That was an opinion.
I love you, Patti.
Wow.
But you know what? The truth is, I actually really enjoyed it too. It's lousy. I could laugh through it the entire time, and I felt like I was watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, even though I hate that film. But I felt like,
you had to go there. You had to go there.
I felt like this factory that murders children. I loved it. I think maybe I'll do that one day. I'll make rubber masks that turn children to whatever. I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to go to Europe, England, and steal a part of sea, come up with another one. But I have to admit, I really liked it. It was so funny, and it was so bad. And that theme song, it was bad. It was so bad. I loved it. It was awful. And I also am a glutton for punishment. So bad boy.
You've been a bad. I know. And they're high tech, all the little TV sets and all their high tech, everything just cracked me up. Okay. All
Listen,
right.
I could not get past this, like when they walked into like Stonehenge NASA, like where they had like the analog TVs with the little computers, and somehow that was hooked up to the Stonehenge thing, and they were like chipping away at it. Like, what was that? And I wanted it to be so bad that I loved it in that vein, and I fell asleep at the end, and I could not.
You don't understand, though, Courtney. Stonehenge was built by aliens that are witches from outer space. And it's full of microchips and things that turn masks into snakes and bugs.
You know what? My mistake. I clearly in the film. It was over my head. It went over my head. I am not educated enough.
I need an explanation from the people that love the movie. So it was scheduled, the masks and the whole thing to kill the children was scheduled and broadcast over the country. Watch the show at 9:00 p.m. and your mask is going, and bring your masks and you're going to get rewarded. Well, and they were showing this, and they kept showing the kids walking around the mask all over the country. And then they cut to LA and they showed the kids, and he's trying to stop it. Well, 9:00 in LA is what time on the East Coast? So were kids already dying in New York and nobody was reporting it? Midnight. Or was it, midnight in the East Coast? And so confused. Just so confused. Please explain the time zone.
The time zones do not make any sense. I mean, if you watch it closely, it shows the East Coast and it's bright and it's during the day and it looks like a nice summer day in July. And then it slowly moves westward and it gets darker and darker and darker, which obviously is not how time zones work when you go east-west. Yeah.
And
I
the
think-
kids are
I
down
think
at 9 o'clock in LA, and the kids in New York are already dead and turned into snakes and bugs. And how come that wasn't being reported to the dudes on the, in LA? That's a 3-hour opportunity to warn the people in Los Angeles their kids are about to get slaughtered.
I think the answer to that is very clear, that the people who made this movie were eating chips of Stonehenge as they were making it.
It could be that the East Coast kids were supposed to watch at midnight, and we're just getting the West Coast commercial because it takes place on the West Coast.
And there's no kids up at midnight on Halloween if they're little with the masks on. So
No.
this just bothered me.
I don't know. I live in that weird nonsensical time zone almost every day of my life. People, you're 8 hours ahead. You're 17 hours backward. So I live there. I understand it. It's real. And how weird were they said, tune in at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7:15. And that just, you don't need it. 9 o'clock, you're gonna die. And but I did not understand. Usually, don't the bugs and snakes come out because you've been dead a while? So that didn't make sense to me. But
Such is the power of Stonehenge.
And the
I
other
think that's just
I have was the girlfriend a robot the whole time?
No,
no, because they
got turned
caught
into-
her, and he wasn't he looking at her in the bed in the TV screen, so they had already had her. Unless I missed it, because that's what I thought I saw.
No,
in the
she
novelization,
was turned into a robot.
There's a book.
there's a novelization of this film, of
No.
course. Yes, there is. And it actually provides plot points and lets you know things that maybe were in the original script. So in the book, at the end of the film, the kids die. Like, he doesn't get the last one off the screen, and the kids die. And the Irish guy who runs Silver Shamrock is still alive. Yeah. So we could get Halloween 19 season of The Witch 2 one of these days.
No.
If I win the lottery and have enough money to finance that film.
yes,
I'm looking up this book right now because I need it.
Oh.
all right. Well, we have one person left on their opinions, Miss Heather.
Okay, so where do I start? First, I have watched a lot of horror films. And horror is a fantastic genre. It has the power to move us, to tell us about ourselves, to make us laugh, to do all kinds of things and make us scared. And I've seen really great horror, powerful horror. And I've seen really bad horror where I'd go, what am I watching? I turned it off. This was closer to that version.
Yes.
This, to me, was terrible filmmaking on all accounts. You're going to darken the screen. Go ahead, Jason. And feel free. And I am not affected by your dislike, my opinion. This, I will always look for good things. There's always something interesting to say about a film. And there's interesting things to say about this film. But sometimes a film is so bad that the best thing to say about it is it's just so bad. I mean, I did not find... I mean, I can point out some things to talk about in it, like I did in its place, but really, this movie is just bad filmmaking. And the sad part about it to me is that, and I get what they wanted to do. They wanted to do this anthology. However, they failed after not doing it. Having Michael Myers in the second film, they shouldn't have done that. That created a precedent. But the problem also was the first movie's success was centered on the character of Michael Myers. Yes. There was other good parts about the movie. And we didn't really recognize the success and the things of the first movie's brilliant. It's low budge, but it's brilliant. And it really set a lot of things in motion for these type of films. But Michael Myers is an essential part of it. It's kind of like what I talk about with Hocus Pocus. The first movie, it was the witches that made that movie and made it successful over the years. Michael Myers did the same thing to the Halloween. So when they took Michael Myers out, people were like, what is this? It didn't know if it was Twilight Zone, if it was the movie Videodrome, if it was science fiction, was it occult? No, this movie doesn't know what it is. It has no clue what it is. It also reminds me of a movie called Naked Witch, which is a super low, you're talking about low budge, low budge, 1962 horror film. Courtney's like, I'm on board, let's go.
Is that on our list somewhere? Because I'll watch that.
Oh, well, we can watch it and talk about a low budge, awful horror movie. It's the director called it schlock. It's really bad. But anyway, it's about people that go into a town. They go into a town of like a cultural town of small, like, you know, and that's a trope in horror movies. And it's like they get involved and there's this naked witch and blah, blah, blah. But what? I mean, what are you? Are you a video? Are you Videodrome and technology? Are you a sci-fi movie? Are you in a cult? There was an opportunity here that they missed big time. And it just didn't work on any level for me whatsoever. And I am, as a film historian, it has a place because it failed. As a film viewer and a horror lover, big thumbs down. I'm not going to tell you if I'm going to have wands down or up yet, but my thumbs are down.
Okay. But what if they hadn't called it the Halloween franchise?
It still would have been horrible. I mean, I think the expectations would have been different for people that went to see the movie, you know, because they wouldn't have expected Michael Myers, so they would have went in not expecting Michael Myers, I knew Michael Myers wasn't in this, so it might have changed people's opinions in terms of how they judge it in that respect, but it's just a bad movie. I mean, in my opinion, I know you loved it, Patti, and I'm not taking away your joy. I don't believe in stealing other people's joy. So
this is what we do.
And I will fully admit that there's a host of very bad movies that just give me joy. And this is not one of them, but there are, and I will watch them over and over and I will own it. So you can have this movie. I'm glad to give it to you.
I think was correct though. This is definitely a chick tract. Definitely, it is definitely a Jack chick tract. And brilliant.
Maybe we should explain what that is.
Okay, yeah, I can because I grew up with those. A chick tract. So Jack Chick was an evangelist during the time of the Satanic, a little bit before, in the 60s, 70s, 80s was when his tracts were really big. And he was an evangelical who funded his own little comic books that were their little pocket-sized comic book, Halloween in lieu of candy. At church, but most of the time, people that wanted to evangelize and tell children not to celebrate, they would hand out these chick tracts, and they would go home and they would have something really bad, like so here is Mary Jane, Mary Sue, Mary Lou. Here's this woman, and she was young and happy and beautiful. Then her friends convinced her to be a witch, and then she went to hell, and it was too bad for her. Sorry, she should have known Jesus. And she gets to the pearly gates when she dies, and Jesus says, "Depart from me, ye who work." And she cries, "But dear God, why? I was a good person." "No, you're not. To hell you go." And they have things like let's see. Oh, this one was playing Dungeons & Dragons and got into a car accident and went to hell. And that one was into playing with the Ouija board and got into an accident and went to hell. And this one had premarital relations and oh, she died and went to hell. And there would be someone who would, let's see, there was someone who celebrated Halloween and then they died. Guess where they went? To heaven. They went to heaven because they repented in the last moment. So that's what a chick is.
If I was a kid and I was trick or treating and everybody wanted candy
frozen?
and all the houses gave me candy,
Just...
No, you're good.
and somebody gave me a stupid piece of paper, I would like egg the house.
Yeah.
We never saw that growing up in New York City.
I have to admit,
I think he froze.
I
think
have to admit, I was the last chick tract that I saw. I don't know if there's internet. I guess not. Hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, no, yes, now.
We can.
I don't know.
We can hear you.
Okay. So the last chick tract that I had discovered, I was in Long Island, and I went to the supermarket. Satan, Mr. Satan is my car. And I went in and I got my bananas and I got my oat milk and I helped the little old lady with her cart. And I was polite to the cashier and all of these things and a car. And there is one chick tracts in my ring. And I think there was a person watching me from like the court cashier underneath in front of the supermarket, and I went, say what I said, but I said really, really loud, obnoxious thing because how dare you? Because my car is Mr. Satan. Think I've never read a chick tract in my life. Are you kidding? I love chick tracts. Just like I love watching Halloween 3.
If you've never seen a chick tract, there is a movie that was made a couple of years ago called Dark Shadows, where they got permission to make a chick tract, and they did it like completely seriously, even though it's absurd, and you'll laugh your butt off watching this movie. I think it's streaming on Amazon Prime right now, but they use actual language from the chick tract, and it's all about how Dungeons and Dragons will make you an occultist and will probably lead you to murder other people. So beware, role players. You are in major trouble.
And he was one of the many people that were doing this back then. He's just one of the probably the most famous that in the 70s kind of contributed to the rise of fundamentalism in the late 70s. The birth of things like Focus on the Family. And I mean, when we talk about the Satanic Panic, we're not talking about some kind of just a bunch of people who are calling witches evil. This was actually a very big moral panic. It was a movement. And when you start to really look at it, and I used to think about, when I started thinking about it and started working on it, I didn't realize how embedded it was and how it connected to politics and socio-political movements and what was going on in the 70s and the reaction to that. And as well as the growth of the 80s and the political movements of the 80s. This is all an embedded, deeply embedded cultural movement that happened that was very real. And a lot of witches at the time were really fighting for their life in a way that they didn't in the 70s and the 60s when they were first coming out. So it's pretty cool. And these chick tracts were part of that movement. And he was part of the fundamentalist stream that was going across the country. You had other ones as well. You had books coming out, and all of this was happening as the 70s ended into the early 80s when the Satanic Panic and when the actual legal battles began. And that's when it became very, very real. And I talk about it in my book and show examples of how it affected witch movies, which is fascinating. Everything from Mr. Rogers to mainstream Hollywood films to cartoons. I mean, it affects it. And it doesn't change again until, like I say, 1996 was when it ended. Super cool because that's the craft. And the first version of the Scream version of the Crucible happened that same year. And that's very prominent and very important. So yeah, the chick tracts and this movie falls right at that beginning, right when the legal battles begin. So it's kind of interesting.
I think the chick tracks had real power too. If you kind of go back and look at that era of the things that they vilified, which scared people. Heavy metal music was one, and there was a chick track about that. Dungeons and Dragons was certainly another, to the point where they got the greatest cartoon of the 80s yanked off the airwaves, the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, which had the highest ratings on all of Saturday mornings, actually. And I remember as a child being just distraught that I lost my Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, because that thing was amazingly awesome.
Yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids were wrapped up in it. The Smarts were wrapped up in it. I mean, it was just, everything. Now, I grew up in New York City, so I didn't see it as much, perhaps, as like, Richard-Lael. You grew up in a different area of the country, so I didn't see it quite as much. But my goodness, it was serious business. Serious.
And it's true. I mean, I was in 1982. When this film came out, I was just a little. I was a little boy, and I was only allowed to celebrate Halloween one time, and then of course there was a man who'd come to my church who had claimed that he was a high satanic witch priest, and that he worked with the movie and music industry, and Freddie Mercury was trying to get people to smoke marijuana because if you play Another One Bites the Dust backwards, Freddie Mercury clearly says it's fun to smoke marijuana. And so
well,
which is funny because now I know Freddie Mercury actually hated marijuana. He'd call it that hippie crap, but he would use the other word. But he hated marijuana, and he hated the effects of it. And so the fact that they thought that he was saying it's fun to smoke marijuana is so funny, because that is the last thing Freddie ever wanted.
That's hysterical. To me, I don't know. I'm not a marketing expert, but that's very bad marketing. Fear-based.
Well, it's incredibly effective too, though, because my parents were good people. They were hardworking. They were good people, and then of course they were afraid of. It was so effective. And of course, what we have going on in the same time, we have the rise of the moral majority and Ronald Reagan and Reaganomics and vilifying. And it was really a way that they could divide people. And fear is an amazing control mechanism, and it swayed an entire generation.
Yeah, and you can see that, and you can see how that then bleeds into witch films, and that's when that's one of the things I track in my book. My book is not just here's a bunch of great witch films from this period of time. I actually am weaving it together with gender politics, and I'm weaving it together with religion and how that's treated, and I'm weaving it together with general socio-political movements. And so you see at this time the change in witchcraft, the treatment of witchcraft in the early 80s changes drastically. You start to see these things, and one of the stories that I talk about in the film, which in the book, which is was really fascinating to me, was that there was an episode of Mr. Rogers that aired in the 70s. Nobody complained about it in the 70s. There was a couple witches that complained about the episode because he said witches are not real on the show, and so a couple witches from Salem were like, no, including Lori Cabot. They sent letters in going, yeah, witches are real. And that was when Salem had just fully acknowledged that they were the witch capital, and she became Salem's witch. So a bunch of witches complained in the 70s. When it re-aired for the first time in the mid 80s, when what Richard-Lael's talking about, this satanic panic movement really was taking precedent in people's lives, tons of people started, tons of Christians were sending letters in to PBS saying, this is horrifying. How could you put witches on the air? And let me just tell you, what he was doing was showing, he had Margaret Hamilton on, showing that she was the Wicked Witch of the West. And she really wasn't a witch. She was just an actress. So the whole thing was ridiculous, but you could see the difference in the reaction from the 70s to the 80s. Sesame Street never aired it again because they got so much backlash when they brought Margaret Hamilton on. So you could see the power you're talking about, Richard-Lael. And we see this in movies. We have it in this movie here is the beginning. And then you think about Warlock, which Courtney Buckley talked about earlier. What do they do? What's the one? Where does he get the fat from the children in that episode? And then you have Hocus Pocus, and you have the witches. You just have one after the other feeding into this kind of concept. And then we haven't even watched Witchcraft, the movie Witchcraft, which is from this era too. It's crazy. It really was crazy. And Hollywood, of course, wants to sell tickets. So they hook on to whatever's popular, and this is what was popular.
And Tabitha brings up a point. Tabitha Meadows says, I've seen some TikToks that are disturbing as of late. Propaganda against witches. Again, I hope it's not real, but it is real. And I have kind of a confession to make. I like to stir the pot. So there's this QAnon craziness that says that witches are satanic and they wear red shoes so they can kill children, and then the blood will not be seen on their red shoes. And so now every single day of my life, I, a satanic witch, wear red shoes every single day because there's no place like homo. There's no place like homo. There's no place.
I love that.
I mean, I just answered my own question. Are people really that stupid?
Mm-hmm.
I've answered my own question. I mean, like, even looking at this silly movie that we love, we hate, and everywhere in the middle, I don't know how that's going to influence somebody in reality about what witches are or aren't. They were monsters chipping Stonehenge. Really? Really?
It just confirms their bias. That's what it does. They've been told it in church or wherever else they hear it. And this just confirms their bias, and it's entertainment. But you hear it in entertainment long enough, whether it's positive or negative, it's going to affect you.
Listen, you heard it here first, everyone. As soon as we all get off of Witches Movie Coven, we go underground to Stonehenge NASA and we start chipping off chips of Stonehenge, and that's how we control the world and the narrative.
And you know why? Because do we need an explanation?
No.
Magic.
This is going to be on TikTok tomorrow on all of the crazy channels. See, they're admitting to it. They're admitting to it. We have you to blame now, Courtney. It'll be all your fault.
You're welcome.
Getting back to this horrible movie that we watched. There was
film.
Good film.
Getting back to this horrible movie that we just watched, it was so 80s. I was laughing so hard because I didn't know where I was going. I'm like, it started out with all these cars. I'm like, okay, look at all this. This is 1970s, car movie. And then you wind up in this love scene, which was out of nowhere and was totally had absolute, like you talked about, worst acting ever. I'm like, really? Is this actually? And then I wasn't sure if we were going in the direction of a rated X movie, and then all of a sudden we're in a sci-fi videodrome, and then there's Stonehenge, and supposedly, and I didn't catch it because I really was not watching closely because I was so irritated.
Well, no wonder you didn't like it. You needed to pay closer attention.
So I played plenty close attention. Yeah. Supposedly, Michael Myers is in the movie. They play the movie. Where was it?
Yes.
At the bar. At the bar, there's a little ad for the original Halloween that shows up.
Okay. I missed it. I knew it was there, and I was just rolling my eyes. Although I do have to say, I did not shut it off. There were several horror movies that I just said I'm not finishing, and I shut off. I watched the whole thing, so it's not that bad. It's not the worst movie I have ever seen.
I would have rather watched again The Witch That Came from the Sea. If I had not had to report to you guys and everyone watching and have to note, Jason, turn your light on. If I didn't have to report to everybody that I had watched this movie, I would have turned it off probably 7.5 minutes in.
What?
Really?
Wow.
I tried to give it a chance. But I love the bad movies. I love them. So I hoped and hoped and hoped. And I kept hoping that this was going to be the kind of bad movie that I loved. And it was not. It was just bad. No.
I am 100% with Courtney. I love bad for horror movies, but this wasn't even, it was so bad it wasn't even good bad.
Look at me. I own a novelty shop, and I
I'm
need to
with
pick
you.
up more Halloween masks the day before Halloween, so I'm going to drive to California and go to the store.
Speaking of which,
I know.
Jason,
Yeah,
do
so
you have,
great.
Jason, don't you have a what is it?
A thing, a
Jason
promo.
movie?
Yeah.
Mankey's Movie Minute or whatever we're
Yes.
calling it now.
You have Mankey's movie?
Yes, of course I do. I love this one. So here we go.
Oh boy.
Yes. Spend time with the sequel to the sequel to the sequel. That's really not a sequel at all. It's Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, a strange sci-fi horror hybrid that doesn't even really have a witch in it. Prepare yourself for the terrifying power of strobe lights flashing on your television screen, all while the world's catchiest Halloween jingle plays in the background. 13 days till Halloween, 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 13 days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock. And it's a jingle I can sing on this show because it's really just London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Watch as a wicked toy maker demeans the Irish and harnesses the evil powers of Stonehenge and microchips to make masks that rot the heads of children and inexplicably produce bugs and snakes. Also, what does Stonehenge have to do with the Irish and Samhain? Stonehenge is aligned with the summer and winter solstices, not Samhain. Witness a montage of cities on Halloween starting in full sunlight at 6 p.m. on the East Coast and moving westward where each succeeding city is darker and darker, breaking the laws of time and space. In case you are lost, if it's 6 p.m. on the East Coast, it's only 3 p.m. in California. Watch as a wicked plot unfolds at 9 p.m. Pacific time, meaning that the great majority of American children would be asleep in their beds, and that all the work that went into those Halloween masks was for naught. Maybe Silver Shamrock just hates the Pacific time zone. Did you ever think of that? Tune in for a scary movie that is not really very scary, yet is still sort of fun because it's so bloody weird. And whatever you do this Halloween, don't let your children wear latex masks or sing that infernal jingle.
Yay!
Brilliant. That is beautiful. You have a new career ahead of
Oh,
you, Jason.
It's got to be more lucrative than
Movie-
writing witch books, that's for sure.
It makes me cry. Laugh
All
every
right.
time.
Well, we have one thing to do. We have one more thing to do before we talk about our winners again and what we're going to
Oh,
watch.
wait,
next
I have
week.
quotes.
Courtney has quotes.
Oh,
Oh my God! I forgot quotes.
Not
I'm
a
sorry.
lot
It's been
because it was hard to pull some stuff, but
Stop it.
one I
quote.
thought was really significant considering we were announcing our giveaway tonight. So there was one that said, "Enjoy the horror-thon. Don't forget to watch the big giveaway afterwards." And I thought that was pretty funny because, oh my goodness, maybe we're giving away Stonehenge chips. You don't know because it's a mystery package. Look out.
It's true. True.
Yeah. And then I'm going backwards, but one of the quotes was, "I don't have no disease. No diseases. Mind if I have a drink?" Because at that point in time, I was ready to reconsider my almost 8 years of sobriety because I was dealing with this movie. But my most favorite quote, and this one actually was really good. He said, well, he had to be one strong businessman. I can tell you that. You don't just pull someone's skull apart without a little lower arm strength. Know what I mean?
it is really not a very quotable film, and
No.
I'm a fan of the film, but there's not a whole lot of quotes. There's just the jingle, and the jingle is enough.
Jingle.
That was it. And it wasn't even the whole jingle for me. It was the do 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 do. Every time the do 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 do, I was like, so I will say that is the one good thing about the movie was the jingle. But I'm gonna hear it in my sleep forevermore, and it's all your fault.
And the sex scene, and the funny outfits, and the good and bad acting, and on that, I think it is time for us to vote. Wands up, wands down on Halloween 3, 1982. You guys in the chat room, you vote wands up, wands down.
Oh, well, your wand is way back over there going down. It's not
My wand is so far down you can't even see it.
even a part of it.
Okay, Alicia, bad guy clapping at the doctor. Yes, there was some funny ass moments in that movie. Okay,
I
I'm
just
up.
dropped
Jason,
mine because it was so far down.
That's
Being
Whoa,
pulled to hell.
I did too.
It was being-
Richard-Lael is 3/4 up. Heather's gone. Heather's down. Courtney's so far down, she is gone. So
I'm disappointed in
oh,
some of my
Heather's up.
co-hosts, and I'm disappointed with everyone in the chat room right now. It's like you're trampling on my childhood. It's like my childhood is being abused.
You have to go watch it again, everybody. You have to go watch
Never.
it again.
Couldn't pay me.
Wand
Only
is
if I
sunk
had
down
read
into the
about it.
earth. Oh,
It was funny. I laughed. I cried. I screamed. I laughed.
I screamed in pain.
Ah, all right. So anyway, is there a single wand up in the chat
No.
room?
Lisa remains wonderful. Lisa remains wonderful.
Yay.
Yeah.
Even though. So again, all right, let's introduce ourselves. Oh no, before we introduce ourselves and we say what's going on, I can't even see the time on my phone. I think we're probably
We're
We have
fine.
4
I
minutes.
have no. Oh my God, 4 minutes. Okay. Everybody quickly say what we have going on and congratulate your winner one more time in case they weren't there. Okay.
That's
Courtney.
me. I'm Courtney. I am Ghostbait on Scared and Alone, scaredandalone.com on YouTube. Check it out. And I am living my whole life is October. I came out of retirement, guys, because I mismanaged the schedule and I didn't have enough tour guides. So I had to go out and do my first night tour since before COVID. I hadn't done one in a long time. It was a success. I do not wish to do it again, so I cannot wait for October to be over. And also another big congratulations for the winner of my Stonehenge chip that I will be sending you in the mail, Tabitha Meadows. So send me your address so I can brainwash you and put it in a latex mask.
Okay, thank you very much. Richard-Lael.
Yes, so I am the gentleman psychic, Richard-Lael Lillard. I'm everywhere gentleman psychics are sold. I'll be in Ohio next week. I'll miss you down here in New Orleans when you're here for. Anyway, another thank you to Alicia. Alyssa. I hope
Alicia.
I don't know. Alicia. Anyway, send me a message and I will I have some things that I'll be sending to you.
Thank you. Okay, Jason.
Lisa Wonderful was the big winner of the Jason prize package for what that's worth. This weekend I'll be in Las Vegas at the When We Were Young Festival. No, I don't perform, but I'm just going to go rock out with Green Day and Blink-182, and I'm so excited. And then I'll be in Vegas again November 11th for Las Vegas Pagan Pride, which I'm really excited about.
Beautiful. Thank you. Heather.
Hi, Heather Greene. I'm at heathergreene.net. I will be doing some, unfortunately for everyone here, they are private events where I'm talking about witch movies, a library, and then another private group. And so I will be doing that. There's usually a lot of that going on, as well as I have a couple of article assignments and, of course, my author. So that's what I'm doing. We also have a 50% off sale at Bewitched Home. Please go check us out, the Bewitched Home at Etsy. And there's great witchy stuff there, including my book. And that is also 50% off for a short period of time for Halloween sale right there. And other than that, that's what I'm doing. And I look forward, and congratulations to Mary Jane for winning my prize package. And I look forward to sending you a few gifties from my lovely witchy office.
Thank you so much. Okay, I am Patti Negri, pattinegri.com. This weekend, I'm going to be in Haunted Hill House in Texas. There's still a few tickets left. I think if anybody wants to come hang with me and the Ghost Hunter Girls, Natalie Jones, Haley the Paranormal Princess, Christy Vampira, Alicia Cosmic Divine, and me, let's go get scary this weekend because it is the season. Then I'm going to be in New Orleans where Richard-Lael isn't at the Vampire Ball. Then I'm going to be at Mid-Michigan Paracon, and then we'll just stop there. I do have a brand new Ghost Adventures on next Wednesday after the Coven. I've got a bunch of stuff just dropping all over the place because it's the week of doing it with my YouTube guys, my other YouTube guys, and my other YouTube guys. So just go to my website, follow all of our social media, please, 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 because it makes a difference. Go to our our YouTube page, our group YouTube page. Individually, that will go there. Like us, follow us, tell your friends. Before we leave next week, we are doing The Witch.
Yay!
All the Black Phillips are
No.
excited.
Oh, the Black Phillips.
Bah!
You're going. That's like deja vu. Have you done that before? Yes, but only part of us have done that before. So we're going to do it better this time. The Witch. So watch The Witch. If you haven't, I don't know the year it was made,
2000.
but watch. 2015. So again, another good one because it's Halloween and we want a nice scary one. Other than that, you guys, buy our merch. Go to mysterycontrol.com. Get a t-shirt. Get a Courtney quote across your chest. Get a Jason quote. Get some bro man shorts.
Look what else you
Get
can
a
get on mysterycontrol.com. This is a Ouija board cape.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Is amazing.
Isn't it cool?
Oh my God. That is absolutely gorgeous.
I know. Don't be jealous. Get your own. mysterycontrol.com.
Mystery Control. Somebody could like scratch your back with a planchette, big moving things around. I love that. So again, everything from Richard-Lael pillows to Patty's Power Panties to Scared and Alone to Spellcaster line. Code Patty for 25% off on I think almost everything or everything. Code Patty. And we can dress you from your shoes to your socks to your underwear to your pants to your cloaks to your capes to your hoodies. And we want to. We want to dress you. Anyway, that's it. We have gone 1 minute long, but we have one more thing to do. You guys, thank you. We love you so much. We love each other. We really have become a family, and you guys are a huge part of it. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
It's still going on.
Alive. We lost our producer Rob. He put on a Halloween mask. He sang the song. He's gone because this feels like live.
13 more hours of the show.
I mean, we lost some people.
And it still says
It
live.
does. It's live.
What if Rob put a mask
So here's
on?
my doll.
What if yeah, show your beautiful doll.
Yeah. So, yeah. So several of our people are gone, but we're still live. So
We're still live.
Jason says he's backstage.
Yeah.
We lost
backstage too.
Did Jason go backstage on purpose?
No,
or did
it's
just
just
Rob
Rob
just
kicked him out.
but we're here. But we're here.
Chilling in the green room.
Are we being tortured or are they being tortured?
We're being tortured. Did someone do?
Oh my God, we have lost Rob, our producer. What if we're on all night? We will not leave dead air. We could, Lael, you could do a story. Heather, you could do some beautiful stuff on all these dolls. We could
You know what? This is a horror movie in the making, Patty.
Wait, let me see. I think I might have something to show you.
Oh, there's Robert.
I could.
There's
Robert.
So Richard Lael's leaving.
she's beautiful.
This is a dress that I made for that's a Wednesday dress for dolls, and she's got Wednesday shoes and a Wednesday dress. Look at that. See?
Did you
I
make
made the dress? I did, and then I put I got her with some purple hair.
Yeah.
So there's my Wednesday doll.
You have another career on top of everything else that you do, Miss Heather. She is beautiful.
My little doll.
Now.
So he was naked. He was a gift from my friend Cricket Hayes, and I love him. And he was naked, and so I made him a little Mephistopheles outfit.
It's gorgeous. I love it. Did you sew it up and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's Dupioni silk. It was from a project that I had done, and I just hot glued him. It's not very well done. Maybe I sewed him. No, I think I did sew it. But
He's beautiful.
Beautiful.
he's fun.
And he matches Belle's outfit. And Belle has beautiful shoes from Richard-Lael,
True.
100-year-old real shoes. And we are just going to be
She's
going. I
sewing.
don't know.
I
Jason
got
says-
lots of shoes now for these old dolls. So if your dolls need shoes, please let me know. They're all from the early. They're all from the early 1900s. Oh, look at that doll.
Baby, here's my baby.
I don't know why we're still on. It's
I don't know either.
What if we can't leave dead space?
No, I guess
What are we?
I guess we have to I guess we have to talk about another movie.
Did he just put on Time to Cackle?
that was a long time.
Or has that been
Time to sign off. It says, okay, well, how do we do it?
How do we do it?
Maybe
We don't know
we
how
all
to sign
just
up. It says
leave,
what?
it'll shut down.
It says, okay, I guess
No, it won't. It will be dead air. You don't do dead.
Scared and Alone says,
Oh.
yes, you can. So maybe
Who's scared? Who is scared and alone?
isn't that Rob's other account?
Is it? Ooh.
So hello everybody.
Hi.
I've got a doll.
Welcome to the Witches Movie
And
Coven.
I have if everybody have to see which we're here up here watching us every show is my is Clarabelle is what we call her, but she's the original Annabelle doll, which I can go get.
Get
I
her.
will get her since we have time and
Christine says that she's the Scared and Alone one. So
Okay.
so how do
Okay. Where's Rob?
she says if we all leave, the show will stop. Bye. Love ya.
bye.
No, I want to see Annabelle.
Here she is. This is a replica of Annabelle, the real Annabelle.
I just saw the real Annabelle. My boys were just doing a live from the Warren Museum for 100
I found
hours.
an exact replica of her.